Hello and welcome to this semi-final matchup between the Underworld and King's Court in the Shallows division of QSL Season 12. I'm Red Sniper 23. Joining me tonight is Marsh on the mic and Tess in the production booth. Marsh, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. It is a Friday night, so there's no work tomorrow. We're going into that weekend. Can't wait to enjoy that time. And but before we get that weekend, we get these semifinals from the King's Court and Underworld in the Shallows division. Looking forward to this. And honestly, we're gonna see some faces that everyone knows and that everyone loves, and try to see what kind of happens.
Yep. And this, again, remember, this is the last regular season of QSL until Smite 2 comes out, which Smite 2 comes out 24/7 in less than 2 weeks. I'm so excited. But taking a look at picks and bans right off the bat here, a couple of familiar faces gone. Lancelot, very strong right now in this patch. Bacchus, an aggressive support. But then also Nuwa on the other side for King's Court and Cthulhu. Another one as looks like Cullen going to get locked in here for Underworld. Very strong solo laner, instant pressure as soon as he comes into lane, and still has that disruption for team fights later on in the game. But now it's going to be countered with the semi global ultimate of Athena and Agni from the mid lane. We are seeing a slight resurgence of Agni in this meta. What do you think, Marsh? Good pickup, bad pickup? Would you rather see something else, or is this a fairly good push here?
I think Agni's personally fine. Right now, me as a mid laner, I just don't like playing it or playing against it. It's just to me, it's a niche pick. It's if you're not comfortable on mid, you play Agni. Big circle can't miss. But I understand, for the King's Court side, banning the Nuwa. Nuwa is one of the strongest mid laners right now. It just does so much damage. Right now, in my eyes, this mid lane is more of the 1v1 gods who can take a 1v1 in mid and come out surviving and then still have a decent team fight, so to speak. But seeing that counter picking, as we saw the Athena Agni get picked up, we saw the Cherno and the Cerberus get picked up. Cerberus, such a strong support. I hate facing Cerberus as a mid laner.
Yeah, and of course, Serb has that passive where he just breaks down your healing. Hachiman on the other side. So Chernobog is an interesting pickup because we typically see Cherno. If you're gonna go ability based, it's probably gonna go to the mid lane. Otherwise, you might head it over into the ADC role. We have seen double ADC builds quite common over the last month, as looks like the jungle is going to get picked on a little bit more, as both Daji and the Bastet going to be taken away. Again, single target damage, disruption, and those pulls coming into play here, as Hercules is going to get picked up before the King's Court. And then mid lane focused over on the King's Court with both the Scylla and Yu Huang going to be taken off the table. Now, Thoth getting going to looked at. There's the artillery mage there. Thoth has that massive ultimate, that huge damage. Um, so Chernobog probably going over into the duo lane, Cerberus support, still looking for something in the jungle for the Underworld King's Court. Um, Herc, most likely solo lane, unless you're looking at something else. I don't know why Nuwa. Okay, there we go. Osiris getting hovered. I don't know about that one,
It's an
as
Odin
looks like it's going to
jungle.
be an Odin pick.
Yeah, that's an Odin jungler. So honestly, from the Underworld bans, from the Bastet and the Daji, I knew honestly they were gonna pick up Thoth right instantly. There, those are two gods that you do not want running at Thoth. Daji especially just goes up into that powwow and gets his beads easily against that, and you do not want that as Thoth. When you're banning that Bastet and that Daji, you already know they're gonna pick an unsafe, no CC immune on their mid laner. And Thoth is usually that pickup. It has just that range, the utility to this fight, and Odin getting picked up and just going with the comp that they have already with the Cerberus, Prot Shred, Cthulhu, Cacolin's already going to be running at them as well. This is going to a three-man front line with a two-man back line, and the two back line not only hits hard, but can also go up into the air and go into a wall and just buy time. This is going to be honestly, I like Underworld's draft. This is going to be one of those they're going to hold W and they're going to try and hold W as hard as they can. King's Court, on the other hand, I like their more traditional, quote unquote. You can't really see the quotations I'm doing with my fingers, but traditional lineup. But to round it all out with the jungler, I think they have to go for like a Hunbats here. But Serket being hovered and even locked in.
Okay, that's an interesting pickup there. I really like what Underworld has. Very traditional front to back kind of fighting. Chernobog gives you flexibility because he can be built more attack speed, that crit build that we've seen from time to time, but ability very, very strong right now. And he has the global ultimate, which can instantly swing a fight from a 2v2 to a 2v3, or, vice versa. And then the same thing with, but the Circuit there, again, speedy disruption, has her, her venoms in there that can really play some havoc. Great single target damage. And I have seen, depending on how it's being played, I've seen Circuit played sneaky Circuit, where 90% of the time she's in your jungle, not her own. So we'll see how the King's Court decides to play this going forward. But just judging on the two setups here, again, you said King's Court more of a traditional, support, solo, ADC, mid, jungle pickup, whereas Underworld has this very 3-2 front to back kind of thing. Who do you think has a advantage just looking off of picks and bans?
I'll be honest, looking at picks and bans, only I'm gonna be a little biased here because I got ran at by not this exact comp that Underworld has, but I got ran at two games in a row by this triple front line, double back line. It is a absolute menace. The jungle and the solo are most likely going to build tank, so they're not going to be dying as fast as a traditional assassin building full damage. And as a mid lane mage, you're not gonna have the best time. You are meant to blow somebody up. You're meant to blow up a squishy, and you have two tanks running at you, and no one can stop them. They're tanks, especially with an Odin cage going down. Agni can't leave that Odin cage. Hachi can't leave that Odin cage. Athena's gonna have to play 100% back. If Athena goes in, that's the time that the Odin blinks and ults onto the backline. They have no shell to get out of that cage. And once they're stuck in the cage, I don't know if everyone's seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, but he's got them in there for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime while Kakolin runs at them, man. Oh, it's gonna be a tough one for the King's Court if that happens. But hey, like I said, I'm being a little bit biased here. So if Underworld plays their comp properly, I really think Underworld can take this. But if the TKC play their comp a little bit how they want to, where Herc is going to do the disruption and Serket is literally just going to sit on this Thought's face and not let him play the game. The King's Court have a chance to actually pull this through. Hachi does a lot of damage, great damage into these frontliners. Agni can do a lot of things over the walls, especially with a stun going over a wall. Hercules not going to be dying too much. Cherno passive might blow him up a little quickly. That's only if Cherno does go the pen shred build. If he goes the crit build, I don't think the Hercules is gonna die as fast as what they would like to. So yeah, I think it would be based on builds that the Underworld does. If Underworld builds, I guess shred for this Hercules and this Thoth lives, King's Court's gonna have a hard time. But if King's Court can essentially sit on Thoth's face and make sure that this Cherno doesn't have that pen shred build, I think King's Court take this with the traditional lineup.
Yeah, so we're gonna pause right now. Um, just taking a look again, I'm actually gonna push back a little bit. I really like the Underworld comp for this reason and this reason alone. The only one that can naturally get out is the Circuit. Everybody else is kind of stuck there, which means the CC can take its effect. You've got you've got that Sorry, I just saw the dragon there for reporter support. I love that skin on the on Cerberus. But you've got the Cerberus that can literally burn beads or pull everybody in, and then group them all up into that Odin ultimate. Disruption by Eye Terminator over there, Louis with his ultimate and his war cry. It is going to depend a lot on what this Hercules wants to do with his build. Does he go more on the tanky side? Because again, you have an Athena, but Athena isn't notoriously tanky as she progresses. More for a flexible pick going, back and forth, having that ultimate. So Do you push the front line, or do you kind of go with the bruiser tank kind of, or the bruiser Herc kind of build? We're going to see what happens here as Louis is going to get a little low here over on the right-hand side. The knockup working wonders for the Hercules already. We do see Odin a little low in the mid lane. There on the Thoth, just getting a little out pressured. Uh-oh, here we go. Louis already going down. There's first blood for the King's Court. Wrecking Logic wrecks Louis' face. Terminator going down, seeing some gray screen right off the bat. And there we go. So again, Brownside over here on this duo lane, doing his work as best as he can. And this lane, I would say, out of all three, is the most even pressure. As we do see, here comes the Odin. He's going to leap in, going to miss everything, and the dash comes through with the Athena. So gank, no gank, as Odin does show his hand a little bit, but he's not going to be able to capitalize on it. 2 minutes, 27 seconds into this game. We're kind of seeing different approaches here. We see here with Crooked Stick on the Circuit, much more of a farming angle to it, although here he comes as Terminator again going to get very low, and the ultimate comes out. Wrecking Logic is going to wreck him one more time. Goodbye, 2-0 for the King's Court. We have some pressure, 3v2 in the mid lane. Odin tries the jump again, will not hit. Kai Whitespot in a little bit of problem, as he's going to take one, he's going to take two. Ross in a little bit of an issue. He is going to just miss that Athena spear, but the Agni Bomb is not going to miss. Ooh, the taunt comes through. User Rue, goodbye. And that is 4-0. King's Court coming out the number 5 seed against the Underworld. Again, Underworld didn't have to go through quarterfinals. They had the bye into the semis. King's Court here has that extra week of practice, I guess you could say, whereas Underworld kind of had that week off. And it looks like the King's Court is picking up where they left off. They upset the number 4 seed last week in the quarterfinals. And here they are, taking it to the number 1 seed already with the Underworld. 4 minutes into this one, and the King's Court already up 4-0.
So I'm just gonna say this real quick for everyone that is here and here. I have casted a few games here before. I've seen a few of the, oh my god, nice, not enough damage. Just try to get the ult off, just off the mark. Unfortunate. I haven't seen much shallow games. I haven't heard much in the QSL side. I haven't been keeping up as much as I'd like to. I apologize on that half. But I can see why Underworld was probably that top seed with how aggressive they're being. Especially over on that duo side, having that 3-man gank. Even the aggression here on the solo side, ending up killing Wrecking Logic. Probably had a lot of gold on him, still sitting on that T1. Yeah, I've got a full shield of regrowth off of that. Just kind of being a little greedy there. Yeah, and getting a T1 even. That was really greedy. Sitting on what looks like 2,200 gold, maybe a little bit more. Probably could have TP'd and came back in. Wouldn't have to have that death. Another kill happening in mid on the side of the TKC though. Looks like Odin Cage was used. Just not enough. It looks like a Circuit ult was used back. But anyway, sorry. I can see why Underworld was taken first place with how aggressive they're being. Especially with how they're ganking the solo lane, how they're ganking the duo lane twice even before a second buff spawn is what they did. So I know a lot of teams don't know how to deal with that, the constant pressure, the constant invades, and even though they are down, they're still gonna try and do it, right? So the King's Court playing their comp properly here is really strong. Just going for the back aggress, going and playing reaction in these fights. The Athena ult is perfect to play that reaction with it. Odin's life is really low right now. Probably going to try and kill the Agni here. Might get pulled back in by the Cerberus ult. Should be okay. Life, oh my goodness. These bars are all over the place. I'm done.
Yeah, Terminator going down there. Tantalus also going to eat it as well. That is a 2-for-0 over on this right-hand side. The gankers become the gankies, and King's Court comes out ahead with that aggression. You did see those bars, those especially mana bars, getting very, very low during that fight. It was a 3v2, or it was a 2v1 over on the right-hand side. You did see Serket trying initially just to pick up the blue buff. The blue buff was secured by the King's Court, and then that all flipped on its head when Odin showed up, and then you had Odin and Terminator over there on that side, and then the mid lane came in, and eventually it was a 4v4, as you saw both mid laners, solo laners, and even the ultimate used by the Athena, Kai Whitespot, and getting all over there on the solo side to make it a 4v3. Again, Ross did stay over in the mid lane a little bit, did rotate over with the mid laner. But yeah, 7-1, 7 minutes into this game. This is aggression by Underworld, but that aggression is getting punished more often than not, as Wrecking Logic is going to get wrecked there. So now we're going to see a little bit of a switch in balance at this level 8 and 9 mark. But again, that still is a level deficit for Underworld in solo lane, 2 in the jungle, 2 in support, and a level in the ADC as well. So pressure coming from just about everywhere for this King's Court roster. Kind of surprising. You would think, 5-1, even if they have that week off, it's, you get a little bit more practice, you get a little bit more rest, you're able to kind of adjust to the meta a little bit. Things have changed in the last couple weeks. Again, we're talking, we've had a patch between the last game and now this one here. So, Tantalus gonna get Agni bombed, stunned by the Serket, and dropped. Kai Whitespot, on the other hand, has 3 there. He's gonna try and ult out. Cannot get there in time. Yuzuru will get that kill as the ultimate comes out from the Odin. But report or support will not make it out. Crooked Stick will get the kill there on the Serket, stunned by the Chernobog. Now comes the chase as the spear will land. The Odin spear does get the stun off, and that means that's all she's gonna write there. It's gonna be a 2-4-1 over on the left-hand side, and that was a rough one across the board for Underworld. Really tough there, as now we're going to see, here comes Crooked Stick once again trying to steal a purple buff, and he will secure it. So Crooked Stick now has, and again, with the Eye of the Jungle being there for Crooked Stick, he's got wards across the map now. That one over there just adds to it, as we're going to see the blue buff invaded and secured for the King's Court over here on the solo side. This is a rough one, I gotta say, for the Underworld. They come out, it almost seems like they're coming out almost in slow motion or sleepy maybe, as they are not primed and ready for this one. You did talk about their aggression, but it almost looks like they're overly aggressive in this one.
Yeah, they're not playing their aggression properly. How the King's Court is doing it. The King's Court is doing it fairly well. Honestly, majority of their buffs aren't up when the time that Underworld has their buffs coming up. Probably we'll see a small skirmish here. Nothing too much. It's only Athena. Maybe a Herc Boulder will come in and try and secure this from a Thoth. Yep, just as I called it. A small skirmish is actually going to break out here.
Yep, here we go. 4v4 as the Thoth ultimate will be used. It is going to be a 2-for-0 right now, as Pancake Trousers is going to drop a Yuzuru. The Odin will fall, as well as report or support on the Cerberus. The Tantalus is going to get chased down by Crooked Stick. He is going to be able to get out of dodge and back away, but that is Bull Demon King and 2 kills over to King's Court. That is a rough one. We are only 10 minutes in, and it's already a 4K gold advantage, just about a 4K gold advantage for King's Court. This one's looking rough early on. Full items already on the side of the King's Court. Looks like at least 1 full item going into 2 full items for most of them. Do have a little bit of a little jockeying match over here in the ADC role. Brown side taking a bit of damage as that banner will land. And Dalai Lama pushing that advantage into the wall and out. As you do see A Odin Blink coming in. Here you go. Can he catch that Hachiman? As looks like the Athena ultimate going to get used. So no ultimate utilized by the Odin. In fact, it's not even up, but Louis in a little bit of problems. Terminator over on the right-hand side will deal with the crooked stick. Will have to get out of dodge, as now we have 3v2 in the left lane, 2v1 over in the right lane. Looks like that blue buff is going to get invaded one more time on the right, but on the left here, we do see that they are retreating on both sides. Again, it's just there's not. Oh no, his crooked stick is going to put some damage onto Terminator. He's going to have to get out of there, and he will get back under the safety of his tier 1 tower. He's going to have to back and attempt to TP back in. That is just a rough one all around. So again, Underworld, as looks like King's Court will take the first Stygian Beacon. Underworld getting pressured here as, oh, we do have a 1v1, a little bit of a back and forth here in the duo lane, but Brown side not quite hitting those autos quite yet here. we're still waiting. Nope, there's one. Okay, he's got another one now. Okay, so back and forth, you know, the empowered autos coming out of Dalai Lama. That is all 4 of them right there. And again, we're this ADC, these ADCs are just going back and forth all the time. Oh, there we go. Banner out, Crystal out, back and forth. Ultimate used. Goodbye. Oh no, he's still alive. He was in the wall. Sorry, his avatar disappeared. I thought he was gone, but no, in fact, instead it might be Dalai Lama in trouble. He will dodge the Odin Spear. He's going to break down one wall. A brown side utilizing the ult to come back in at full health. Agni Bomb will drop, make it 2. Here we go. A user Rue trying to do what he cannot stop the Agni Man, and he will get out of there 3 in, 3 out. No deaths on either side, although Tantalus in a bit of trouble. Make it a lot of trouble. Crooked Stick's going to pick up another kill in the mid lane. 3-12 our score here, about 13 and a half in, as King's Court just taking it to Underworld at this point. Brownside caught napping with the back, and Crooked Stick's going to pick up another one. That is his 6th kill in a row. Terminator going to have a little bit of, well, we'll just call it what it is. Solo lane boxing over here on the right-hand side, as Wrecking Logic is, well, not really Wrecking Logic, but he has been wrecking face in this game so far. Gold Fury going to get started up by King's Court, now backing away. Can Yuzuru get the kill? He will get the kill on White Spot, and Athena goes down. No Gold Fury, but Report or Support will get traded back 1-for-1 in this fight so far. Gold Fury is still under attack by the King's Court, and looks like Underworld's just going to back away, let them have it. Uncontested, Gold Fury going over to the King's Court. Now, we are going to see a Glide Ward come out from the King's Court, just trying to see who is around. Well, where are they rotating? As Brownside trying to just fight back to get what he can in farm here. Has been playing things relatively safe and secure. Again, no kills on either ADC at this point, which is kind of surprising. Usually you'd see someone step up, but Tantalus is going to have to burn the beads, try and get out. The Athena will taunt Kai Whitespot and going to pick up that kill with the help of a Crooked Stick. 606 on the jungler from TKC, 405 on the Agni, and that is murder for the other team. That is so bad for Underworld. They are just getting absolutely manhandled by this mid 3v3.
Yeah, this is true. This is 19 kills, mind you, at 15 minutes. We're watching an arena game on the Conquest map, is basically what's happening. Some of these kills are leading to stuff, as we just saw. The first Gold Fury and the first Pyromancer finally got picked up. It took them about 14 minutes to do the first real big objective. No tower is down. Nothing's really coming of these ganks, but a lot of invades is what's happening. They're getting a lot of relics. They're getting these invades off, and that's where the TKC is getting their lead. Is these invades is really going off, especially on these purple buffs, the green buffs, the blue buffs. A lot of the stuff is happening, getting picked in the mid lane. We can also see the ward coverage as well if we look at the map. TKC have wards all over the place, whereas Underworld just has the wards on the solo side just to make sure that this Kikolan Terminator does not get ganked anymore, essentially. But as you did say, this jungler, the Crooked Stick on Circuit, 6-0-6, playing really well, also built somewhat tanky with that Shifter Shield and got the Rune Forged Hammer. It looks like we kind of slowed down. Been about a minute and no deaths have happened yet. This is a sight to see. 16 minutes in and no death. But excuse my language, as Odin falls, as the next beacon is going to be up in 30 seconds. I don't think the Underworld fights this beacon. I think right now we just have to secure our farm. Our back camps are up on the right side. Blue buff is coming up. Red buff's coming up. Same with green, purple. We give up the beacon. If you lose towers, it is what it is. All these towers are very low HP anyways. It is unfortunate. Once these towers do go down, you do lose a lot of pressure in whatever lane. You are no longer safe anymore. As Crooked kind of just comes in, Thoth, no beads Aegis. Actually does get out. Nope, dies to the Circuit ult as Cerberus trying to save him ends up falling as well. Playing Save the President just doesn't work anymore nowadays. Towers don't hurt, and especially with that Circuit building tank, it's just not enough. ADCs have been boxing quite a bit here and there. Their poke is just poke. Can't really count it as a scrap, really. We have the Hachi ult to get out of the fight, and we have the Athena ult coming in to try and save the Agni. Enough damage is coming through. He's going to probably get picked up by Brownside, ulting in as is Chernobog. Global pressure is here. Athena gets hit by the stun, but Sprint comes out. Athena should be okay. Hercules rotates in to kind of just tell them, not today, as Odin falls to the boulder as well. No objectives are up. Mind you, can't really do anything with these picks. Gold Fury is coming very soon. About what is that, 10-second spawn? 10-second spawn on Gold Fury. Might rotate over to that and get that ready. Now that Odin is dead, no cage to be seen. Mind you, you don't have your mid laner for this fight, but should be okay. 4v4 already pulled right as it spawns. Shred is decent. I'm about to say Hachi has a double lifesteal build. Haven't really seen it outside of casuals. Crooked Stick over here just bullying this Thoth. Ultimate is probably going to kill him as Aegis falls. Yep. And Tantalus just gets farmed 3 times in a row. Tantalus is just not enjoying this game. Just absolutely getting ran at. No one to help him. Cerberus is not really a peel type support. So with Cerberus, you kind of want to have that pressure. And Underworld doesn't really have that pressure, being 9k gold down at 19 minutes.
Yeah, just a rough one between these two right now, between Underworld and King's Court. XP difference, you see almost 12k in favor of the King's Court. They have been consistently farming. If I had to talk about anything this game, even more than the picks, I would just talk about the consistent farming you've seen out of the King's Court. They've been invading, they've been making sure that they get the camps, and they've used that pressure, especially in the jungle, to move the game ahead. And it's been at a rate that the Underworld kind of hasn't wanted to go yet. They've never really been able to play on their pace. It's always kind of been at the pace of the King's Court. So Underworld, I don't know. Maybe they're just having, the week off blues or something like that. But we'll see if they can recover from this. As again, it's not over until it's actually over in the Titan Falls. But 20-5, it seems like a pretty bad, or not quite insurmountable, but a pretty lofty lead here. As we are going to see Louis going to lose his tower. That is all tier 1s down now for the Underworld. King's Court going to rotate over, and Fire Giant going to be started up. So here we go. We're going to see this major objective going to get started up. It's down to about 2/3 health. Crooked Stick and Wrecking Logic trying to ward off Underworld, who is pushing forward. That's low health bars. Reporter support is going to go down. Pancake Treasures gets one. Dobby Lava going to get Brownside with the ADC push. Here we go as the charge is on. Stygian Beacon going to be up as well, but Tantalus going to drop, as will Rue, and there's the ace as Louis going to go down to Deicide as Underworld falls 5-0, and King's Court turning back and getting their well-earned Fire Giant. 5-0 in favor of King's Court in that last fight. 25-5 now our score at 21 minutes.
You hate to see it. It's as I said earlier. You looking over at the King's Court, they have that whole fire giant area warded. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wards. Is there any vision for the Underworld? No. Is there any Raven wards coming out to see if anyone's hiding behind a wall? Nope. No, nothing to get any type of vision, and it just shows right there. You don't know if they're committing to it or not. It didn't seem like they were bursting it, and we still ended up walking in as Underworld and just getting absolutely railed. You just have to be careful on this vision, especially when you're this far down. We also saw Chernobog there. Didn't even notice the Hercules standing in front of his tower. Almost walked out of the tower line there. Athena's right here as well. He just kind of very weird positioning here. Thoth also dashing in. I like the damage. Not too much is going to happen off of it. I truly don't think they even defend these tier 2s. You're 15k gold down at 22 minutes. At the end of the day, this is the King's Court game to lose. This isn't Underworld's game to win. This is the King's Court's game to lose. At the end of the day, none of us are, I hate to say it, right, is expecting Underworld to win it here. Unless the King's Court plays really poorly, stop playing as a team and just start running at it one at a time, not using their relics or not going in with the calls or maybe just target selection. But they're playing by the book right now, and they're playing this book properly, going to this beacon, getting that little bit of damage on those 2 birds, trying to get that solo lane tower damage. Looks like they're going to be opting for this Oni Fury as well. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of starter pickups from the mid, the jungle, the solo. Everyone can get their starter right now on the King's Court side. Whereas on Underworld, no one's level 20 except for the ADC, as he's getting picked by Crooked Stick.
Yep, here we go. Crooked Stick going to... oh, here comes the Athena ult as well. Will be unnecessary as Crooked Stick's going to take down Brownside. Athena Tot comes in. Thoth in a bit of trouble. He's going to lose about a third of his health. He is going to pop out his abilities. Herc with the knockup will not connect. And here we go. 5 over on the left-hand side. The pressure now coming in. The jockeying for position as 4v4 becomes, or sorry, 4v5 becomes 5v3 and makes it even more difficult. Now diving in goes Louis. He's going to get the knockup, but his life bar will be terminated. Goodbye to Terminator. Dabi Lama going to get that one. Knockup will hit Yuzuru, will hit the Tantalus. Tantalus goes down. Reporter support running away. His life. Pancake Trousers picking up that one. 30-5. The only thing that looks like it's going to fall next, well, that's going to be the Underworld's Titan goes. And that's all she wrote for game number 1. 30-5 our score. King's Court picking up the victory.
Yeah, this is looking like the Underworld is just going to have to go back to the drawing board. They're going to have to rethink this. If they want to be that aggressive, they need that early game picks. What they had wasn't they had a few early game picks, with the Cerberus is perfectly fine, Kakolin perfectly fine. Odin's not really an early game pick, so to speak, and same with the Chernobog. You definitely do have to bring that back to the drawing board. Whereas TKC, they like I said, they played it by the book, they played properly, and hey, they pushed their lead how they wanted it to be pushed, and they built properly with it as well. Crooked Stick on the Circuit ended up building that tank Circuit, which was perfect with how much he was diving in, usually alone. You definitely do want to build somewhat tanky on that Circuit. Yes, you're going to be doing percent health damage with your passive. Don't really need all that much power in your kit anyways, but still had that lead and was able to do whatever they wanted. And we can see there, they didn't even back and get their starters. Probably on the TKC side, they probably all had about at least 2,500 gold in their pockets for the Athena, Circuit, Agni, Hercules. They got fire, they did the towers, they got beacon, they got Oni, and then they ended the game. They didn't even back to spend their gold. That was the perfect time for Underworld to take the fight because TKC didn't spend their gold. But they just did not 5-man group properly and played their comp. They just didn't play their comp. That's what I see on the Underworld side. Didn't play their comp right. Thoth kind of got ran at for free. No punishment whatsoever from the side of the Underworld. Definitely gonna have to see this back at the drawing board, and having 0 wards out from your jungler is not the greatest thing, especially as an Odin when you do want to do that setup. You want to know where everyone is. You want to know who's not positioned properly. Definitely gonna have to bring that either back to the drawing board or maybe have a little bit more vision. Definitely gonna have to see how this goes in game number 2, Underworld versus the King's Court Shallows Division.
Yeah, those look like Puddle's numbers for wards there. Because good grief, I can tell you right now, if I ended up with 2 wards as Brownside did, uh, my captain would be yelling at me. So
Mind
as an
you,
ADC
Dab Llama
player,
only got one, but at the end of the
that
day,
it,
Dab Llama wasn't getting camped. He wasn't getting ganked,
well,
whereas
yeah, and
Brownside was.
he was having regular rotations on his side too. So he knew what was happening in his jungle. Not only that, but Kai White's button had 6. I mean, Cricket Stick had 6 as well. I mean, there were some. There's mobile wards going on. Again, it only shows 6 wards from Cricket Stick, but he was also invading that purple buff. He was also invading that green buff. So he was getting deeper wards with that Eye of the Jungle. Now, to be honest, I think the 2 biggest issues, if I had to ban out for game 2, I'm getting rid of the Athena, who happened to just be there all the time, and I'm probably getting rid of the Cirquette, as long as it's paired with something like this Agni. Because Agni has just enough damage to make that annoying. I don't think Rue's Odin was the right pick into this type of a comp. There was enough penetration there. There was enough just uh, there was enough there where it just became something that they didn't have to worry about, and that advantage pushed further forward. It snowballed. You saw that whole graph towards the end there was just a straight up snowball towards the end. So again, um, I agree. Go back to the drawing board. Think about things for a little bit. You got 5-10 minutes. Just take a look at it and go, okay, how do we do this? What are we looking for? How is it going to interact? We have some CC. Where's our damage coming from? And how is it going to push forward in these in these certain areas, especially when we talk about team fights and picks. The front to back team fighting never really happened. Even at the end, that fire giant fight, it was one pick and then a second pick, which led into a chase. So there really was no 5v5 fighting at all during game number 1. We'll see what TKC brings to bat in game 2. We'll see what the Underworld can counter with. We will be back after this. Don't go away. We'll go into game number 2 between the number 1 seed Underworld, the number 5 seed Kings Court in the Shallows Division semifinals. And we are back into game number two, King's Court, Underworld. Underworld coming in the number one seed, King's Court the number five seed. Underworld, though, didn't look like the number one seed in that game number one. 24 minutes was our game time, in the King's Court just slowly snowballed it ahead. Um, kind of weird things going back and forth as we see bans coming out. Marsh, your thoughts on game one?
Honestly, it had to be brought back to the drawing board. Had to look back at this and see what they truly need to take away from the King's Court. You know, from for Underworld. You know, you have two people on the King's Court side, Pancake and Kai, both known to be one tricks, Agni and Athena. So being left open one or the two, you already know they're gonna first pick it, guaranteed. There's the Athena ban as I was wanting. I was wanting them to ban the Cthulhu Athena Agni. Just give the way throwaway bans. Your second pick, leave everything broken open. They can only get one while you get two. Is the best idea, but it looks like they're gonna be prioritizing the Circuit. I understand Crooked ran at you with the Circuit, but he also had the bombs helping out, and the bombs played a lot when that fire giant fight happened. And it just your ADC on Underworld side, I think it was Brown side, was in front of his support and just got absolutely blown up, which was just very unfortunate positioning and timing. But we are gonna have to see a little bit different kind of comp happening for the Underworld side. TKC end up getting Shock, the best soul laner in the game right now, the best warrior in the game, even played properly. Shock is a very strong warrior in this meta right now, especially with his three, decreasing those the power that you have while in the rain, and the slow coming out, mitigations from his ult, 3 seconds silence. It's going to be a lot coming out, and picking up their Agni. As I said, you know, they're going to go back to their one trick. At least one of them will. And Underworld opting for the on her Ganesh, ending up getting that little bit of aggression out of their ADC at least. They were going for the boxing match, but we kind of saw a lot of autos hitting nothing but air. So maybe, hopefully, this is more of a comfort pick than the Chernobog, but we'll see how that goes.
Yep, we'll see as Jing Chen going to get picked up by King's Court here. So Jing, I'm guessing solo laner just because they've already got the chalk. Or sorry, Jing Chen's going to be support because they've already got chalk for solo. We do see probably the duo lane there. I don't see Ganesh going into the jungle or anything like that. But Scylla going to get hovered again. Early aggression by the on her helps with the snowball. Scylla, uh, this is what they needed in game one, which is who do you have early game to allow you to carry to until your late game carries can kind of bring things to fruition. You had a Chernobog last game, you had a Thoth last game, which are excellent late game gods, but it's only if they're even or ahead. The Cherno was kind of even until the last like 7, 8 minutes, and that's when those rotations really started showing themselves and taking their toll on him. But the mid lane was just getting blown up all the time. Tantalus was not able to be comfortable at all on the bird. Scylla, on the other hand, will be your late game win condition essentially, and has excellent objective secure. We do see the Wheelish taken away. Daji going to be off the table as well. As King's Court still looking for a jungler, still looking for an ADC, as Ravana going to be taken away as well by the Underworld. So again, jungle picks back and forth going to mitigate some of the things as Hunbats, an excellent team fighting jungler, going to be taken away as well. So now, if you're Underworld, the Odin really didn't work out so well. You don't have many options now, jungle wise. Who are you looking for? Are we looking for maybe like a Thor game, a Thanatos game? What are we looking at here?
If I'm Underworld, I'm picking my solo laner here. You already know your matchup. You don't pick the jungler here. You don't see your jungle matchup either. So if I'm Underworld, I'm picking my solo laner here. It's the safest bet, and honestly, he did okay on the Kakolin. Was a little too aggressive, fighting into a wave and a half on the second lane, on the second wave, and just got killed on it. And Bacchus solo, hey, it could be a Bacchus jungle. It could be. Um, but we'll see how that goes. Bacchus getting locked in. I'm not a hater, but if this is your game that can make or break whether or not you make it to finals, then I don't know if locking in a Bacchus instead of pure comfort is the best idea. Whereas Donza and Fenrir being locked in, I'm not too sure about the Fenrir pick. Kind of gets silenced by Ganesh, can't really brutalize, and gets rooted by Scylla. Can kind of just stop him in his tracks. Can't really chase them on her as well. I mean, hey, he played the Circuit very well. Maybe the Fenrir could pop off, just looking for the stun and the early game brutalize, and then probably like a walkout afterwards. And late game, probably gonna go the same build again, full tank, semi tank, jump in, get a stun, and walk out. Maybe get an ult off, get someone's beads. But yeah, I'm not too much of a fan. The Hercules being locked in, that could be a shock jungle. That could be a shock jungle. We could be seeing a
Probably Herc
shock
jungle.
jungle.
I'm
I
I'm going
I
Herc
want a
jungle on that
shock
one.
jungle. I want a shock jungle. All right, I'm messaging Crooked right now, and I'm telling him that best be a shock jungle. Crooked, hey, that best be a shock jungle. All right, cool.
No, I'm going to Herc jungle, but interestingly enough, here's an Achilles. Achilles jungle versus Herc jungle. So again, slower clear times because we're not looking at assassins here. Achilles, however, gives you the added advantage of an execute for an ultimate and can do it multiple times, much like Scylla can. Bacchus, however, here's the interesting trick about a Bacchus. Bacchus with Shifter Shield is ridiculous. I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know if you were around during the days of Damage Bacchus, but there is this terrifying thing from level 3 to about level 10 called Damage Bacchus that absolutely destroys everything around you when it comes to if he drops his ult, your health can be halved. He can belly flop you, belch you, stun you, and then smack you even further. So Damage Bacchus is a thing. I'm guessing that's what's going solo lane. To be all honest, I think it's going to be Bacchus solo, but I think he's going to build hybrid.
Well, we're gonna see here as we load in, and you are correct. I was right as well. We did call out that Bacchus solo lane, ending up seeing Terminator on this, going that conduit start as well. Achilles jungle, and I am a sad man as I kind of already knew that this was going to be a Herc jungle, as he told me he did not want to play Shock, and he's tried it before, but he likes the Herc more. I am sad, and I'm no longer a lover of the King's Court. I hate Crooked. You heard it here first. I hate my solo laner in OSL. I never want to see him ever again. Yep, this is how it goes. And I have a game with him in 2 days. Hooray! Anyways, going into this game number 2, the King's Court versus the Underworld, we're seeing some wacky picks coming out. 3 frontline, 2 backline. It didn't work for the Underworld last game, but it looks like both teams are going to be opting for it. Game number 2. I wonder if this is going to be an arena fest, like last game where we had, what was it, 13 kills in 9 minutes? Or it was also 19 kills at 15 minutes. There was a lot of death happening. So I'm going to have
It
to
it
see how this is going to go in game
it
number 2.
wasn't full clown fiesta, but it was definitely in that tendency. Yes.
They were in the
Um,
clown car, but they weren't coming out of the clown car, is what you're saying.
it's true. Now we do see the early aggression happening by the Underworld there. Oh, as now we're gonna see some aggression. Brownside gonna be safe. The Bastion is going to keep him alive, and here comes the. Oh, there it is! First blood. Yuzaru gets pancake trousers, but it will be traded back 1-for-1 in the mid lane. But first blood goes over to Underworld in game number 2. So already things have changed. We have now seen a 1-for-1 already. Again though, we're still seeing a little bit of comfort on the King's Court. We're gonna see what happens as Crooked is it still has some familiarity with that Hercules and does play it well. Brownside sitting here, is the Crush gonna come out? Is gonna get things? Yeah, okay. The Crush does come out. They will secure the rights, but
I
Crooked
just
Stick just
noticed
being
they
annoying.
swapped lanes. Brownside is now mid, and we got Tantalus on ADC.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, Tantalus knows the on her. I do know that. So I have no problem with that one. Tantalus on the on her is not a problem. Louis just smacking around logic, but we're gonna see if that's a good idea. He's gonna have to belly flop back under tower as he is not first blood this time. So, not too bad there. Meteor will fall in the mid lane. We do see a dash happening by Pancake in the mid lane. And Louis doing quite well here. He is healing up pretty okay here. I'm kind of surprised. He's holding his own on the big man over in solo lane. Over here in duo, though, we are seeing the dancing coming out from the Danza. Yes, that is the new skin. I'm not exactly, pleased about that, but dude, that's okay. I'm no longer an admin. I'm not going to do anything. But I will point out Nix Nay Nay on Llama there, although that is a cool skin. I do like that. Bastion going to fall shortly. Speaking of falling shortly, Pancakes, Pancake Trousers, so close to death there. That was so close. He will not get the last hit, but he will get the XP there for the mid lane. As rotation happening, here comes Brownside. He will come over into the duo lane. We are seeing both Kai and Llama over here. Uh-oh, that Don's getting low. That Don's going to get dead, and there goes Dobby Llama. He will fall. Kai Whitespot and going to lead them in a ring around the rosy fashion. We'll see. Will Brownside get the leap? He will not. Instead, he will just go back to farming as the Jing Chen will make it out alive with his own skin. As Crooked Stick now going to he hit the bull demon just a little bit, but he sees a blue buff and he does not want to see Louis with the blue buff around him. Will not pick it up though. Louis will secure it. Terminator will get his own blue buff on the right hand side. And again, that was a problem last game. Terminator only got about 2 or 3 of his blue buffs the entire 24-minute game. That was such a rough thing for him, as we do see Whitespot and Dalai Lama getting the purple buff and the green over here in the left-hand side. Pressure now has switched a little bit. Louis does look pretty... Honestly, I think Louis looks pretty good over here on this right-hand side. We do see the ultimate coming out from the chalk, but it doesn't really secure much. Louis is kind of sitting pretty. He's down a level, but it's not overly, pressuring or anything like that. Wrecking is getting some damage done to him, and this is a much more even game. 4 minutes in, we were 4-0. It was a 4-kill deficit already. It's a 1-kill deficit, and now it's in favor of Underworld in game number 2. What do you think contributes to that now?
Honestly, just having that 4-man rotation to their own purple buff was perfect. The only thing that I didn't like that didn't happen was Crooked going for that invade on the red speed. If they called out, hey, there's 4 people at their purple buff, go for the invade, Agni and Hercules should have been charging for those buffs and just punish Underworld for sending 4 over to the dual lane pre-5 minutes. Um, Definitely, I kind of want to see punishment there, but punishment doesn't happen, but a kill does happen instead on Tantalus in front of his T1 tower on the duo side. Sorry we didn't get that kill, folks. It is going to happen sometimes here and there. Not going to be always getting every single kill. But as you said, this Bacchus over here in the solo lane, Terminator on Bacchus, I like it. There's nothing much that a shock can do to stop a burp, which is, you kind of want to see that Hercules in the solo can stop the lane clear and is better of a matchup into it as well. But you were saying as well before we loaded in was a full damage shock. Oh my god, we're using 2
Ooh,
ults.
we are seeing the Crush come out. Here we go. And the fight 2v3. We will see the ultimate coming out from Report or Support. Ooh, stun! No kills though, as low health bars, but again, they want the lefts over here. Again, not oracles just yet, but that is a very low health bar on both Terminator and Wrecking Logic over here in solo. Low health bars for Brown side and Reporter support, but they do make it out alive. And again, 2v2 or 2-2, the kills now, as King's Court has evened things up now, 6.5 minutes into this game. Um, Man, this is just, it's so back and forth. It's so on an edge because you do see both teams having the advantage at one point and then losing it and then pushing forward and then losing things again. Um, you can see how this game can go either way right now. We do see King's Court again with the efficiency in farming as they are up about 1,500 gold 7 minutes in. As the ultimate comes out, Terminator gets Wrecking Logic very, very low, but he's under that tier 1 tower. Again, we're not yet tier 10, or we're not at level 10s yet, so we are still susceptible, especially even in the solo lane and even in the tankier roles. We are seeing the respect given to the towers. No dives as of yet. Crooked Stick over here already, as he will secure the Naga. Bull Demon King potentially looked at here. Yeah,
No.
looks like it's going to get started up.
He'll get
But
started
it
up, but
looks
they
like it
lose
might be
Gold
traded,
Fury on the other
as
side.
Underworld is going to look at Gold Fury. There it is, 4-man rotation. So the secure by the by the Scylla. We will see ultimates used by the Scylla, by the Honor, and by the Ganesh for the Gold Fury. But 8 minutes in, Bull Demon King goes over to King's Court. Underworld picks up the first Gold Fury here in game number 2. That's right, we're in game number 2. Best of 3 here between King's Court and the Underworld. Underworld is the first seed, but Terminator not acting like the first seed there, as he will go down the gank, going through the ultimate, coming out. Atlas Stone going to be dropped on top of the Bacchus's head. Man, he just wants to eat, sleep, and drink. Well, he'll have to do so back at the fountain. King's Court now up 3 kills to 2, 8.5 minutes into this game, and yeah, this is going to be rough.
I like what the Underworld did there. They went for the Gold Fury. I'm guessing Terminator, the Bacchus, called out that he saw Hercules over on the Naga and taking the Naga, and called that a 4-man Gold Fury should be pulled, especially that you do have the Scylla, do have that secure. I don't think much is going to come of chasing out a Xing Tian. They're looking for ganks, but I don't think anything's going to happen. Gold Fury's down. There's no reason to fight right now. But yeah, great recognition on the side of Underworld to go for those objectives instead, and honestly pulling it, which is a great idea. But it's still down in farm, even though they did get the better objective. Gold Fury did get buffed recently in the past, and they ending up pulling it, making it a little bit easier to kill, giving a little bit more XP, gold, all that stuff. It's just we have to be on top of our farm. I think there's a few of our buffs up, just not getting them in time. Maybe look for an invade here or there, but a relatively even game. Again, we saw it match. I think it was right there, the gold difference. Right as it met that line is when they took Gold Fury, and no deaths have happened since. But you just see that constant climb on the King's Court side. They're just getting that neutral farm over and over again, just securing their buffs on time, doing everything that they need to, and just it's a constant snowball from just not farming properly for the Underworld team.
And again, you did see that massive down drop when the Gold Fury was taken, and it was even at that point, which means the entire 1,700, almost 2K advantage now has happened in the last 2.5 minutes of the game. So again, we're seeing the efficiency of King's Court's farming coming out. And people will say, oh, look at the score, look at the score. It's such a close game. To be honest, Smite in this format is more about farming than it is about kills, and we're seeing that come through here. As the farming, the gold difference at 2,200 already, I mean, look at it. It was 0 at 8 minutes, 12 seconds. It's 2,500 at 11 minutes. So in 2 minutes, they've gained 2,500 gold advantage over King's Court, and that's only included 1 kill. So at that point, you've got to ask the question, should we be farming? Should we be pushing an advantage? Should we be going for kills? As here comes the spin cycle. Reporter Sport going to get picked up. He will get focused down. Raven Ward coming out, but no kills so far. We will see the rocket come out from Don Zaburo. I guess that was the rocket, as it is a van in that skin. Here we go. Blink will come out. Aru not make it out. Goodbye to the Achilles. Crooked Stick picking up that kill. Again, we said a lot. Crooked Stick doing so much, but yeah, that was man, that is so rough there. As looks like King's Court's going to pick up the second Primal Fury, their first of the game.
Yeah, solo lane rotation here is it's a great idea to have that solo lane rotation. He's not really missing out on farm, does have that TP to go through, ends up missing a wave to try and secure this Gold Fury. Perfectly fine on that side. You know, you only have the one pick, which is the jungler. Do have to be careful of the Scylla, even though her ult is down. Does have that crush, try and steal secure. Beacon up as well, having your solo laner there before the enemy solo laner is perfect. You see Terminator in the jungle, thinking about rotating, doesn't even end up rotating fully, sees a back camp up, and decides to take a back camp. I'd say that's okay. Ending up losing some, but getting some for himself, being that little bit of selfish is perfectly fine. BDK, though, is up, and we just saw a BDK to a fight over at gold side, to a gold going down, them pulling a BDK again. Still haven't backed with all this gold in pocket. Bacchus ult coming through, Shock with the peel. Getting pushed away is this Bacchus, already flopped in. Might be in a bit of trouble, and get Ganesh and Scylla. Peel will save him. No Bull Demon King just yet. Blink coming up from the
Stick low, Brownside picking up one, make it, nope, still one, as Brownside will pick up another one. Pancake Trousers will fall, Brownside will fall too. That is a 3, make it 4 for 1. Brownside falls, but King's Court's gonna have 4 fall in succession. That's a surprise, to be honest, as we looked at it. Underworld did not have the advantage necessarily in that fight, but drew them in just enough that was an excellent fight for Underworld. 4 for 1. Sorry for cutting you off there, but again, though, we're not seeing the aggression out of Z Tantalus. Before, we kind of saw it out of Brownside a little bit in game 1, but we're seeing more of the safe, secure, let me farm up, let me do what I need to do out of Z Tantalus here. He does have 1 kill. He is in a slight lead in that one. He is about a level and a half down, though, when it comes to the Don Zaburo. Don't know if he's quite as comfortable necessarily on the Anhur. Brownside does look a little bit more comfortable on the Scylla as 2, 1, and 3. But again, we're not seeing the runaway scores like we saw last time. Again, 10 kills out of the jungler, 10 kills out of the mid laner. We're not seeing that here in game 2. And now we're close again. We're very close again. Only about a 2k difference between King's Court and Underworld. And again, I say 2k difference. It's 2k again. Like, they got the kills. They got 4 kills. You see it drop down, and now it's coming right back up again. So, again, Underworld, it seems like they're getting these major advantages, but it's not flipping the game. Because even when they get the kills, they're not pressing that advantage. Although we do see blue buff secured over here for King's Court. Rotations coming out now between the teams. We are seeing the mid laners get a little bit more involved back and forth. ADCs again, we did see tier 1 fall over in that left-hand side. Z Tantalus playing a little bit further back as the Anhur, but now as we're starting to see the 3v3s in the mid lane starting to get some damage. Ooh, Brownside's going to lose about a third of his health, but in turn, Pancake drops his to about half. So again, we're seeing these 3v3s, the motions back and forth here as solo laners getting involved, and then we're going to see ADCs getting involved. We do see, it looks like a Oni Fury going to come up here in about 30 seconds. So at 15 and a half, looks like Underworld is going to secure the Oracles. If you're Underworld, I'm going to ask you this question, Marsh. If you're Underworld, what do you need to do to win this game 2 to force it to a game 3?
They need to start taking their wins properly. You know, they had 4 people dead, and the ADC was over in that side, and Bull Demon King was up. You know, I understand the Achilles was not healthy, but you had a full health Ganesh there that could have tanked the whole thing for you. They have to start taking this neutral farm. Neutral farm, securing their farm, or even taking farm, especially when they're getting these kills, as of course fight is happening on the side of Underworld's jungle. Achilles
Oof.
falling, but doesn't look like much is going to happen afterwards, as it looks like Kai might have the seed.
Yeah, Yuzuru going down. That is a quick pick here. Crooked Stick, though, getting very low. We do see Eye Terminator with those thorns. Downside, sorry, brown side going downside. Is Davi Lama going to pick up the solo kill there? Or sorry, not a solo kill. He is, it was on the backside there, so in the mid lane. Reporter support getting very, very low on that Ganesh. He is going to have to back away. 4 now in this mid lane. Pyromancer going to go over to King's Court, and Stygian Beacon is going to be available soon here, 17 minutes in. Again, this one not as pressured, not as forward, as King's Court will move over to the Oni Fury. I will say this, though. Something that I have noticed about the King's Court more often, as it looks like we do have a pause here. Um, Something I've noticed with King's Court is if I had one word to describe their gameplay, it's methodical. It is
I
just
was gonna say
methodical.
consistent, but sure, that works too. If we're
It,
trying to be a big boy and using words that not everyone understands, okay? Some of us didn't pass second grade English, all right? But no, I agree with you 100%. They are just playing the map properly, and they are playing absolutely perfect that you can ask for the King's Court. They're playing the map amazingly. Their team fight is on point. They're calling. It looks like they're calling targets. Everyone is on the same page of what they want to do. Everyone is in there or everyone is out. They're playing this very well. They're playing the map very well. Whereas Underworld side, I don't know if you saw it, but we had the on her was freezing lane in front of T2 Tower for about 2 to 3 minutes now. But when you do that against these teams that already are ahead, the ADC is just going to rotate. And we saw the ADC rotate there, ending up killing your mid laner and taking Pyromancer while you're still freezing lane in front of a T2 tower. You could have essentially forced all those waves underneath the tower, got a lot of farm, and neutrals were up, the shield buff was up, the Jimmy was there as the meteor. There was just a lot of things. You could have got the bastions as well, maybe even destroyed the tower. But instead of doing that, just freezing a lane that nothing's really happening. Instead, your team's losing and you're not getting much of it. It's that thing that I said before. Underworld has to play the map better. They have to understand, hey, this is what's going on. We have to go for this. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. Your laner's over here. Get the farm. This person is diving me. This person should be the target. I don't know if anything is happening for Underworld in those comms. You're gonna need those comms, especially in semifinals. It could be a bit tilting on what's happening in the game. I know everyone does have a little bit of a tilt side to them. It happens, especially when you are getting ran at and nothing is getting kind of punished for it, essentially. But at the end of the day, it is semifinals. You guys do need to talk. Vocals and comms is one of the main things you need to have in Smite. If you don't have vocals, you don't have comms, at the end of the day, your team's not going to know what to do, you're not going to know what to do, and everyone's just going to end up in that ranked mindset of, I need to be the hero. And we can't have that here.
yeah, competitive Smite is not ranked Smite. There's no, I'm going to carry or I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. It needs to be a coordinated thing. And especially in this type of setting, we truly see that Smite as a team game, and it's going to be a back and forth thing right now. 7 kills to 6, about a 5. Well, looks almost like it's about a 6K gold lead now already for King's Court. So 6K gold difference, 7,700 XP difference. Although that XP difference, as we're getting close to 20 minutes here, is going to fall off again. People are going to be starting to hit level 20. Although, let's see what damage is going to be done here. I don't think much, even though Wrecking Logic is up by 2 levels. Again, you're seeing solo laners smack each other around. It's not really much, but we're going to see if this tier 1 is going to fall. Indeed, it will. 3 pushing strong, make it 4 over there in the jungle as well. The extended 4v4 over here as Dalai Lama is going to push forward. Zetantalus getting a little bit of farm, but not a lot. And again, we're seeing that slow, as I used before, that methodical play by King's Court. It's almost this, instead of Indiana Jones running from that giant boulder like, oh no, it's coming to get me and I just got to run. It's almost this slow steamroller that it's the Austin Powers where the guy's just going ah and the steamroller's coming, but instead of moving out of the way, it's just like a slow inevitable thing coming to run you over. That's kind of what I feel from the King's Court right now. There's no big flashy look at this amazing 5v5 team fight. It's just they've been farming so efficiently that by the time they decide to take a fight, they've already won the fight because they're that far ahead. We're kind of seeing that problem happen here already as we do see the crush come out from Brownside. There goes the blink, and now an engagement as... Ooh, Atlas Stone is going to miss, though. That is the ultimate by Crooked Stick. He will find himself on the backside. Yuzuru will drop. Pancake Trousers will get him. Looks like, oh, yeah, Terminator's going to go down, too. That is a 2-for-0 pick in the jungle. 4 men strong. And that means Fire Giant will be next for King's Court. And this is what you were talking about before when I said, what does Underworld need to win? They need to use their advantages effectively. The picks by King's Court leads them to an objective. The picks by King's Court leads them to a tower. The picks by King's Court leads them to an invade. When Underworld had that 4-man kill, what did they get out of it?
Back.
Pressure back in
They
their
got
lanes?
Back. They got
They got it back, yeah.
They got it back.
I mean,
that was great, man. Like this push over on the. I did say that On Her does need to push and farm up, especially when the ADC is rotating. But when you have your ADC doing that, you can't be dying. It is a no dying law, so that your ADC gets a lot of farm. You guys lose nothing ending up for it. And it looks like he's just gonna get farmed by this Hercules jungle, just staying and just opting to not use his beads or Aegis and saving it for tomorrow. I'll be honest, I'm kind of like that too. I like to save my beads and Aegis for tomorrow as well. Ending up losing their solo lane T2 tower. Pyromancer goes down as well. TKC, can we see gold in hand for me real quick? It looks like just Hercules backed. But yeah, we have that's 3k gold in Shock's hand, almost 3k gold in your support's hand, 2k in your backliners. These are some nice power spikes. We didn't have it happen last game in game number 1. It looks like they're just gonna opt more. But hey, what? It's 5v4 right now because your ADC didn't want to use anything or didn't want to get out in time. And it looks like they just end up losing all their T2 towers, Gold Fury, Pyromancer, Fire Giant, and their buffs. The King's Court is literally just bleeding out Underworld. Underworld cannot breathe with how the King's Court is playing this game. They're just playing by the book. That's all they're doing. They're just playing by the book. Farm, invade, farm, invade, farm, invade. And that's all Smite is. Smite is literally just playing by that book and just farm, look for a gank. If a gank happens and it's good for you, invade. If it's not good for you, you ended up dying, secure your farm. Try and secure it. Don't die for it. Just try and secure it. But Underworld is just not getting that memo. Instead of trying to secure it or trying to get out, they're fighting it, and it's not looking all too great. As look at that 4k golden hand in Shock is just gonna get him full shifters, a starter item, and it looks like he upgraded a ward or upgraded his one of his relics. You know, that's a big power spike for a Shock, and you do not want to see that, especially with the Redstone online now. We have a starter on Agni, starters on everyone. Sorry, I apologize. Starters on everyone on the King's Court side, whereas over on Underworld, not a single starter. Mind you, support 1 level off, everyone else level 19, almost there. I'll be honest, I didn't even notice Rage second item on Achilles.
Yep. Yeah,
cool. Just wanted to say that real quick. Just wanted everyone to take that in. Breathe it in. All right, onwards. Rage second
Yeah,
item.
and I mean
Four
when you're
stacks
looking
on
at
it.
Jotun's first item,
Jotun's first
yeah,
item, perfectly
I'm not
fine.
going to say anything else about that whole thing. Anyway, we are seeing the King's Court push up here on the right hand side, looking for a bird. We'll see if they want to go for right or if they want to go for mid. We do see a push over here. Dabi Lama focusing down the bird. He will get that first one as here comes the ultimates. Bacchus ult. Big bombs by the Agni. Crooked Stick will pick up one. Z Tantalus Terminator going to go down. Holy cow, that's four. Brownside's the only one alive. He will drop something. But Trousers will not drop his as Kai Whitespot getting very, very low. Here we go. Wrecking Logic, trying to wreck everything. We do see a little bit of damage coming out, but we do see Brownside at this point just kind of sitting there trying to get something going. Nope, we'll get knocked up. We'll get pushed. The Aegis coming out, but the Aegis will not save you as King's Court picks up game number 2, and that is all she wrote for this one. That is a win for the King's Court, and they make their way into the finals as a 5 seed in the Shallows division and a fall from grace from Underworld. And that is a rough one to go out on. Man, that the inevitability just kind of slowly moving forward. But I do have to say, if I had to give an MVP for this matchup, do you know what Crooked Stick is in Irish, Marsh?
I'll say real quick, crooked stick in Irish, no idea. I'll say it's still a crooked stick, but at the end of the day, he's over here asking if he made me proud. I'll be honest. I'll say it here for everyone before I tell him. No, the shock jungle was not the thing. And I'm still sad to see it that it was not the thing. But Crooked Stick does deserve MVP for that set. He ran it down in game number 1, controlled the flow of the game. In game number 2, on this Hercules, it kind of was a slower pace, but still ended up controlling it. And not as tanky as he was for the Circuit game, just kind of built a little bit more damage and was perfectly fine with it because he just warrior stats. But yeah, if you want to tell me what crooked stick means in Irish, if you know, hey, I'm here to listen.
Well, if you translate Crooked Stick into Irish Gaelic, it's shillelagh, and boy, was there a shillelaghing happening there. Boy, that was just a rough one. Um, Crooked Stick ended up with 10 kills in the first game, 6 kills in the second. That's 16 total. Agni, Pancake Trousers, 10 in the first game, 4 in the second. That's 14 between the series. Those are your top two right there. I do think though that Crooked Stick, however, was able to influence the game in such a manner that even though the pressure was across the board, um, again, Kai had 16 assists in the game one, 9 in game two. I you y- the mobility wasn't there as much. Again, you're talking about an Athena versus a Jing Chen. However, it almost looked like in game two that Underworld was just trying to hold their own throughout it. Maybe that was just me, but it looked like they weren't aggressive. They pushed their aggression in game one, were so overly aggressive they said, okay, we're going to pull this back in game two. But because they pulled it back in such a drastic manner, they were unable to really be assertive. And that's kind of what we were talking about throughout game two is every time they got an advantage, every time they pushed things, or I should say every time they got that advantage, they got a 4-player kill or a wipe. It just wasn't there. They didn't get anything with it. And
I love how
that
we
was
bring up
kind of
that 4-player kill, but that only happened once. That was a 4-player kill. If we minus 4 kills from Underworld's side, how many kills do they have? 2.
yeah.
Really, nothing really happened. They just it instead of trying to stem the bleeding and trying to put pressure on a different side of the map, they just constantly fought, and you do not want to see that. They played it well first when they called out that Hercules was over on the solo side and they pulled the Gold Fury. That was great. They did something proper by the book
Yep.
and then just didn't do it anymore afterwards. They just said, you know what? Hey, we did it one time. We'll take it. pat ourselves on the back, be on our way. Yeah, can't be seeing that, especially in semifinals. Does end up dropping them. That is their season, and this is the last season in QSL until Smite 2 even. Not a great one to end off in. At the end of the day, Underworld did have some good moments. They did play pretty well. It's just the King's Court's day, and they came in swinging.
Yep, and that is going to be it from the Underworld. Again, playoff brackets on our Discord. You can look for our Discord, Kraken Smite League. Links are available. But that means that King's Court heads to the finals. They will get the winner of the number 2 seed Eternal Vanguard and the number 6 seed Food Fighters. That game will be coming up later this week. Again, finals will be happening next week. We still have our puddle sets to be played. We have our deep sea sets to be played, and always looking forward towards the abyss as well. We did have an upset yesterday. I think it was yesterday or a couple
Today.
days ago, when the abyss played. The crew got the upset against the King's Court. King's Court came in as the number 1 seed. Crew came in as a number 4 seed, and the Crew managed to get the win there. This one, on the other hand, the King's Court plays the upset, and they will end up heading to the finals against the winner of Eternal Vanguard and Food Fighters. So again, great one tonight. Thank you for joining us, Marsh, on my right here as in chair number 2, and Tess. Thank you so much for being production. For all of you who have been watching, thank you for watching QSL. We are in season 12. Again, we might have a couple of tournaments here and there, but look for us as well when Smite 2 becomes 24/7. We will start looking at things our Discord. And if you are part of the Smite Discord, look for our links there. And we will be starting up tournaments in Smite too, as long as they let us. So, again, think about it. If you're a player, we would love to have you. We are a draft league. That being said, Marsh, anything else from tonight?
I'm still sad it wasn't a shock jungle. Still sad.
uh,
Still
that
sad.
that being said, everyone, have a good night. We got Smite, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.